Another very important piece of advice is there are other people that have gone through this. Reach out to the community. Find other people struggling with the same diseases. Ask them, what did you do? What worked? What didn't work? And see if you want to take on some of that advice. Remember, you have medical advice and then you have emotional and psychological support.
Yeah.
Take your time. And after all of those consultations, choose the treatment that you see is best for you.
Good day and welcome to another session of Women in Leadership with V. Women in Leadership with V is brought to you by Diversity SA. Diversity SA is a management consulting company in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it specializes in training, facilitation, and speaking. And today, for this episode of Women in Leadership with V, I'm excited to have Rabia with us. To start off, Rabia, who's Rabia?
Rabia is a mother of 3 children. She's also a sister to 6 siblings. I'm also a professional. I work in IT and digital transformation. I'm also a cancer survivor and the founder of a new application called Anixi Health.
Oh, that's interesting. You've got so many roles. You are a sister, you are a mother, you are a digital transformation officer. How do you balance personal and professional life?
At my age, it becomes a lot easier, where you can separate things.
I agree with that.
But I think what's also important is when you actually start doing the things you really enjoy, as you get older in life, you figure out what really, makes you tick.
Yes.
Finding a balance is a lot easier. Having grown-up children definitely helps. I think when you're younger and you're having a family and you're still building your career, it's difficult to have balance.
There's a lot of balancing
But
there.
later on in life, with my kids all grown up, and it's easier. It's become a lot easier. I love what I do, so it never ever feels like I'm having to work.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. You developed an app, and it's still a new app, Anixi. What is it about?
Anixi Health was developed on my journey as a breast cancer survivor. So I was diagnosed at the age of 40, and one of the things I realized upon diagnosis up to this point is that there's so many people out there that when they are diagnosed with a chronic disease like cancer, the one thing that really helps them get through that entire journey is the support, the inspiration, the motivation of other people around them that have had similar experiences. So Anixi was born through my experience from a warrior to a survivor to now a supporter. And Anixi is there to create and provide a community to people going through similar experiences.
Okay, maybe before we go to Anixi, let's go back a little bit to the day you were diagnosed with cancer. How did you feel?
When you ask that question, my heart's pounding in my chest because I actually remember how I felt. I was consumed with fear because I thought, well, cancer means death. Really, am I going to die?
I think most of us think of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't think that maybe I can beat this. You actually think this disease is going to beat you. So you're just overwhelmed with fear. You have so many questions. You just don't know who to ask for answers. You become a Google expert, Dr. Google. So you don't realize that there are other people around you that can help you through this. You just think, am I going to die? What's going to happen to my children? And that's what you focus on initially when you are just diagnosed.
Gosh, that's scary. I feel scared already. Okay, your cancer journey, it's not unique to you. You also had your grandmother die of breast cancer. How did that make you feel, knowing that your grandmother has died from cancer and you're diagnosed with the same disease?
So I was very young when my grandmother was diagnosed because I was raised by my grandmother, right? So I was probably 5 or 6 at the time. And when someone you love that dearly, you see them that sick, it can be, it really takes its toll on you. And a couple of years later, she had passed from the disease because at that time, years ago, they were not so advanced with treatment for cancer as they are now. And so this thing stays in your subconscious, cancer. Over the years, 3 of my mom's sisters, because it was my granny on my maternal side that had also got diagnosed with breast cancer. And strangely enough, I was the only grandchild in this big family that got diagnosed with breast cancer. I always thought maybe I was so close to my mother and my grandmother that I kind of manifested it, you know. But I'm very blessed and very fortunate that during my diagnosis, treatment for such a disease has progressed so much that I can sit here today and tell you that this has been my journey and what's happened to me.
And we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Anixie. Anixie, it's like a community. Can you tell us how it works?
Sure. So it's a mobile application. For now, it's available on the Google Play Store, so it's for Android users. You download the app, you register on the app, and you choose. So there's 3 categories. There's warriors, people that are just newly diagnosed with the disease and still struggling. There's survivors like myself who have overcome the disease and are there to help and support the warriors. And of course, there's the supporters, the people we always forget about, because our loved ones, our friends and families also struggle when their friends and families are diagnosed with a chronic disease. So you get to choose, are you a warrior, are you a survivor, are you a supporter? You then also get to choose which groups you want to belong with, and cancer is just one of them. I realized that there are so many chronic diseases, and everybody experiences the same fear, the same trepidation, am I going to overcome this? And in some instances, some chronic diseases are things you struggle with for your entire life. You can't easily say, I've overcome this. You need to monitor, you need to be on treatment, sometimes for the rest of your life. And so it's there to say, you're not alone. There are other people like you. And that's why I say Anixie represents or is a community for a community. You are there to not just help yourself, you are there to help other people like yourself.
Okay. And so if I'm getting you right, the Anixie community is not only for people who are struggling with specific diseases. So it's for everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
We are inspired usually, and we are motivated by listening to what other people have been through. I suppose it's why you have me here today, right, to tell my story. I can tell you that I was afraid at the time when I was diagnosed. I was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of breast cancer, triple negative. And seriously, I thought I wasn't going to make it. But here I am sharing my story in the hope that it could positively impact somebody else that's just been diagnosed and give them the hope and the inspiration they need to make it through their disease. Now imagine if everyone with a story like mine, because it's not unique, had to inspire one other individual, to give one other person hope, and they keep paying it forward. That's what Anixie is. That platform to help anyone and everyone on it, to help them overcome whatever they're going through.
Now that's interesting. If I can listen to your story well, or if I can really paraphrase your story, the most difficult part was when you were diagnosed. What would you say to someone who has just been diagnosed and is maybe going through treatment? What can you tell them about it?
I'm going to spend a little bit of time on the diagnosis before I go into treatment, right? And I always give the advice based on my own experience. So when I was diagnosed, I was very hasty in my decisions. I was diagnosed, I was told I have this lump in my right breast, and all I could think about was, I need to get rid of it. So I didn't do the things that I'm going to tell people I think they should do. I rushed into surgery, and sadly, I had to redo surgery multiple times as a result of making a very hasty decision. My advice to people on diagnosis is, if you're told you have cancer today, in 3 weeks' time, nothing is going to change. So take a little bit of time to process your diagnosis. Don't rush into any kind of decisions. Get more than one medical opinion to put your mind at ease.
Yeah, that's important. That's very important.
Because when you diagnose, someone will refer you to a doctor. That doctor will tell you, you need to do this. And you are so emotionally distraught and so afraid, you're going to rush into the decisions the way I did. My advice is, You get one opinion, dwell on it, spend some time on it, get another opinion. Another very important piece of advice is there are other people that have gone through this. Reach out to the community, find other people struggling with the same diseases. Ask them, what did you do? What worked? What didn't work? And see if you want to take on some of that advice. Remember, you have medical advice and then you have emotional and psychological support.
Yeah.
Take your time. And after all of those consultations, choose the treatment that you see is best for you. Not a rushed decision to do what a doctor's telling you, you need to do this now. So take your time to do that. That's the first thing. When you start treatment, you also need to be psychologically and emotionally very, very strong to face the type of treatment you're going to be undertaking. In my case, I had to go through very aggressive chemo. I didn't know what to expect. You walk into an oncology center, trust me, all you see are people plugged into these drips. Everyone's getting their chemo, and everyone looks sad, everyone looks down, and you think, oh my God, is this because I'm going to die? So again, you go into treatment thinking, am I going to make it?
And I'm sure that is emotionally draining to be surrounded by people who maybe are not too hopeful.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I had to change my mindset, right? From the time of diagnosis up to the point where it was now time for treatment, I decided, from talking to other people and seeing other people make it through this, I was going to beat this. So when I used to go for my chemo, I used to always have friends with me. We would pack a little picnic basket and we would just chat and make a day of it. Really, I was not there to die. I was there to live. That's what chemo represented for me. So that was the one thing. The other thing about treatment is, if you're going through aggressive chemo, be prepared that it's going to take a physical toll on you. After my first chemo, my hair started falling. So I had long hair. And I had to go and then shave it off. I involved my children. My daughter took the shaving machine and shaved my hair off because it was already coming out. So you were going to end up with little clumps. And by the second treatment, I was completely bald. I had to embrace this whole thing around the physical impact. Chemo damages a lot of things in your body. It damages your skin, your nails. There's a lot of physical
that's a lot to go through.
In having chemo. So you need to now be prepared for all the physical changes your body's going to go through, right? There's also psychological impacts. I remember my helper, after all my treatment, once saying to me, Rabia, when you were going for treatment, I actually thought I'm not going to work for you because you became such a terrible person. Gosh, I feel terrible saying that. But I didn't realize that it was psychologically traumatizing and I was actually taking it out on other people. So you need to be prepared. Why I'm saying you need to talk to other people. So you need to prepare yourself for what's going to happen to you psychologically, emotionally, physically. And
because I'm thinking something like that you wouldn't necessarily know that it's going to take a toll. But if you talk to someone who survived, they can tell you that. So how was the emotional toll on your life, on your kids, on your family? How did they cope with it?
I think that's the part where I say we sometimes become so consumed with how we are feeling, with our fear, our loneliness, that we forget about the support structure around us. Trust me, they are equally scared. My children were very young, and to them, cancer also meant death, right? Was mom going to live? I mean, imagine you are thinking, am I going to live? But now you have your children who are old enough to know what cancer means, but are asking exactly the same questions.
And you're going to die.
I excluded my children from whatever was happening. But on reflection, which is why Anixie was born, I realized you can't do that. They are as emotionally and psychologically traumatized, not just your children, your sisters, your brother, your mother, your family are all afraid. But you become consumed with your fear and you believe you need to protect them from what you're going. That's not what they're asking for. They're saying, actually, I want to understand what you're going through so that I can be there for you.
Okay. I think let's go a little bit back to Anixie. How do you think it's going to help those who join the community?
All the questions you're asking me and all these things that I'm sharing with you, I believe that every single person diagnosed with a chronic illness or a chronic disease should be sharing their experiences and their journey as well, because there's something valuable that everybody takes from it. Now, I'm sharing this because I'm hoping that other people that are diagnosed with an illness would listen and they would take the lessons from my journey. Now, imagine all the other people on a platform or an app like Anixi sharing their experiences. It helps people when they are diagnosed, just reading other people's stories, reading other people's posts, connecting with those people in a safe space, because that's what Anixi is. It allows people to also connect privately through the app. If I don't want to publicly post my question on a social media platform, I now have a private, safe space to connect with a V and say, V, I saw that you were diagnosed with cancer. Can I chat to you privately? And through the app, you can do that.
Ah,
Say,
that's interesting.
tell me, what did you do? How did it go? What experience did you have? What should I do? What should I prepare myself for? And
So the
that's that safe
supporters can
space.
also connect with other supporters and say, how do you survive or what do you do?
Yeah.
Ah,
Like,
okay.
my mom's just been diagnosed. What did, I see you're a supporter. How were you there for your friend? How were you there for your family member? Did it work? What should I do to help my family member or my friend through this journey? Supporters need to also talk to one another and understand, but at the same time, supporters are also exposed to all the information that other warriors and other survivors are sharing.
Oh, okay.
Right? So if you can see that, someone that's newly diagnosed is feeling a certain way and is feeling comfortable to express how they feel, as a supporter, you now understand what that person is going through. And it also helps you understand, how should I be there for that person?
So when is the launch?
It's actually this month.
Okay.
Now in November, we've just gone through Cancer Month, etc. I think it was Breast Cancer Month. I think now it's Lung Cancer Month or so. So the timing is perfect. We're launching it this month.
Okay.
Very quietly, because we want to test the market. We want to be able to test the app. We want to see what people experience and take that into consideration as we transform and build the app. But it's there. It's there on the Google Play Store. Anybody can download it as we speak.
Okay. So what would you say people should do? Download it or wait for the launch?
Download it. Please download it.
Okay.
A launch is just to publicly announce, hey guys, Anixi is here. And so for me, this is also an opportunity to say, hey guys, Anixi is here.
So we're launching the app.
And so, yeah, it's there now. And don't wait for me to see a big a social media ad. It's there. If you're listening to this podcast, please feel free to download and use it.
AnixiHealth.com. Download it and support the others. Even if you don't have the disease or any chronic disease, you can support family and friends. So you are in the IT space. You are an executive. And you're also launching the app on the side, Anixi Health. What would you give as advice to young people who say, you know what, we want to be like Rabia? She's there, she's an executive, she's doing great things. What would you say to them? What advice would you give them?
Firstly, I also come from very humble beginnings where, you kind of wonder whether you're going to have the money to go and educate yourself, etc. So my advice to young people is, dream big and hold on to your dreams and your goals. When you know what it is you want to ultimately achieve, set little goals for yourself to achieve and work towards that dream. I remember at a very young age, I knew where I wanted to be with my life and what I wanted to be. I swear to God, I knew. And I had this picture that was imprinted in my mind. So no matter what happened in my life, that picture was always there. I knew where I wanted to be. And along the way, a lot happened. A lot happened where I thought, am I going to actually get to where I need to be? So there's going to be detours. Just remember where you want to be. Take the detours, but never forget where where it is you're heading. Very important. So dream big, but be prepared to work hard towards achieving that dream. Nothing is going to just be a walk in the park. We all don't come from privileged backgrounds. For the vast majority of us, we have to work very hard to achieve our dreams. Nothing is going to just be handed down to you. Work hard. That's the one piece of advice I can give to young people aspiring to get to where they want to be. I'm no that there's nothing special or unique about me. I believe that everybody can do what and achieve what I have. And much more, in fact, than what I have. Number one. Number two, along the way, there's a lot that's going to happen. And then you get to choose. Do I adopt a victim mentality? Oh no, this has happened and I can't do this, and I don't have the money to do this, so I need to stop doing it. Or am I going to survive this? So am I a victim? Am I a survivor? You get to choose. You get to choose. Only you get to choose. Nobody is going to choose for you.
Yeah, and that's a difficult one for people to grasp, because most people think because I was born in poverty, therefore I need to stay in poverty. I can't choose something else. What would you say to them?
No. You know what? There's a whole big world out there. Also, again, coming back to Anixi, right? Anixi, yes, was designed around support, creating a community, and seeking help and advice. Along the way, even if you want to focus on your career, there are so many people out there that are going to be willing to give you advice and to help and support you. You just have to reach out and ask. There's people like me.
Ask.
I have seen someone. Let me ask them, can you help me?
Yes.
And if they can't, they will refer you to somebody that can. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because if you want something badly enough, you're going to ask, what do you need to do to get what you want, right?
Yes, definitely.
So you can get yourself out of poverty. At one stage in my life, after my first divorce, I had to have 2 jobs just to put food on the table. And so I didn't study consecutively for many years. All my studies were through correspondence because I didn't have the money. So when people say, I don't have the money, I say, but if I, with 2 children, was able to hold down 2 jobs, a day job and a night job, to put food on the table and save up to study, then anybody
can do it. Yeah, that's true. Okay, what would you say to people about the launch, about Anixi? Just to close off, what would you say?
To everyone out there listening to the podcast, guys, Anixi is new. We are always confronted and bombarded with so many social media platforms, okay, like Facebook, Instagram, etc. Anixi is intended to be targeted to a group of people that are focused on a good lifestyle, surviving illnesses, without all of the other added pressure that we are faced in social media. I need to look a certain way. I need to dress a certain way. I need to wear a certain brand. I created Anixi to say, for this targeted group of people that are focused on their health, that are focused on making an impact on other people's life, let's take out the noise, the rest of the social media noise, and let's just focus on our health, our lifestyle, and supporting and helping one another. So if you are really genuinely sincere about overcoming your illness, about inspiring and motivating other people to overcome their illness because you've overcome yours, and about caring and being there for your loved ones, then please download Anixi. I think it's new, but you're the community that's going to contribute to making Anixi what I would like to see it become.
There you have it. We need your support in growing the community. Anixi is launching very soon. Watch the space and support. There you have it. That's it for today. Thank you so much, Rabia, for sharing your story. We're going to check you on the app, Anixi Health. Maybe you can just say, how do you spell it?
Anixi.
Health.
Anixi.
Okay.
And just to add, Anixi means spring. Okay. And I was very deliberate about choosing the name because, spring is usually a time of rebirth when things come back to life. And the message around choosing a name like that is, guys, just because you have a chronic disease, don't feel like you're dying, like how we always feel. It's also a chance to reevaluate your life.
Spring.
And to come back
from winter. Yes, you go to spring. Thank you so much. Women in Leadership is brought to you by Diversity SA. And Diversity SA is a management consulting company in diversity, equity, and inclusion, specializing in training, facilitation, and speaking. Thank you so much. Have a good day.